Okay, I'm gonna restart this because my computer decided not to work because it wanted to throw another thing at me that maybe possibly needs to be repaired. So this is how much I make on YouTube. I have not gotten a channel strike. This is just the state of the channel right now. The channel is not in a good spot at all. So there are a couple things that I've seen from here. One of them is that videos that are talking about content creators, for good or bad, perform better than videos talking about the news. Right? Talking about Hassan, almost 5,000 views. Talking about Tectone and Kirsch and Asmongold, almost 8,000 views. Everything else somewhere in the range of 1,000 and 2,000 views. Those numbers are not sustainable for my channel. Naki Bree says, I see the channel strike warning though. Yeah, I've had that for years. That ain't going away. So here's the thing about how YouTube works. If a video performs well, it catches in the algorithm and the algorithm shows it to more people in an effort to have more people watch YouTube. That's how it's always worked. If a video does not perform well, it stops showing it to people. So right now, my main channel, which is my primary source of income, is not making enough for me to live. Now, this has been supplemented by Patreon, but we'll get to that. First thing that I have to let everybody know is my main channel is being split into two. Right now, I run 2 channels. I'm about to run 3. Technically, my editor, K Fox, is going to be taking over primary management of the secondary channel, so it's not going to be that much more work on my part. But from your end, what you likely will see is that instead of 2 videos a day, there will only be 1 video a day, and that 1 video a day is likely going to be very content creator centric. Think responses to Ben Shapiro, responses to Matt Walsh, responses to various right-wing influencers, because that seems to be the thing that the algorithm is showing my channel off to other people when I do. The subscriber gain on the channel is sitting at 39. Those are unsustainable numbers. That is the amount of subscriber gain that you have on a channel when it is either just starting or when it is dying. So I need to do something to change how this works. Oftentimes, when a channel is not performing well, it is because the channel's creator is doing something wrong. I have seen the things that are doing well by my channel, and I have seen the things that are not doing well by my channel. So I have to lean where I can in order to make the money that I need to survive. Now, the secondary channel you all already know. If you've been watching me live, that is going to be the Necosaurus live channel. So this channel over here, this is going to be where you find news breakdowns, clips with me and Rhino. All of that stuff is going to be over on this channel. When you want to see me cover the news stuff, this is where it's going to be. When you want to see me cover, like, Matt Walsh being a douche nozzle, then that's going to be over on, you know, the main channel where it's been for years. Now, the other part of this that I have to throw out there is that, like I said, Patreon has primarily been the thing that is allowing me to survive. It's been the primary thing paying my bills. My channel literally could not function without patrons and fan support. My other revenue stream is Twitch, which is, of course, another fan support network. I do not receive any money from Twitch in any substantial amount, unless, of course, somebody is, you know, paying for a subscription or doing a bit donation or anything like that. Naki Bree did one of those 21 minutes ago, and I didn't catch it because I have a splitting migraine because I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep, and we'll get to why that is now. So I mentioned before that, and I mentioned before on stream, not here, Saturday is my day off. I had an entire mental breakdown that required me to take a 3-month hiatus where I tried to make a video essay that had a script done, got recorded, and then got paid for the editing for, and then the editing never happened with it from the person that I paid to edit it. story for a different day. Pisses me the fuck off. K Fox has said that she every now and again might try to nip away at it, so eventually that video essay may see the light of day. But as of right now, I wish I had an actual time when that was supposed to be done, and I'm fucking pissed at me because I could have taken time to just sit down and edit it, but instead I chose to start streaming again with that extra time. Right now, my day begins with me making Magic the Gathering content for the first 4 to 6 hours of my day, and then going to the gym, and then coming home, cooking a meal, and then streaming for the next 2 to 6 hours for the other part of my day. Ultimately, meaning I've got, 10 to 12 hour work days, usually, for people who consider streaming a job. And that hasn't left me time to do anything other than what I have set out for myself to do. Period. I do not have that time, because the time that I have for leisure is the time that prevents me from having a mental breakdown. By the way, this morning I had a mental breakdown, which is why I'm here with 2 hours of sleep. And that happened because of a mistake that I made. A mistake that was informed by Patreon. Now, again, I am not going to try to blame Patreon here. I took information that I was given from Patreon and made an informed decision, and it was obviously the fucking wrong decision. So, Patreon, a year ago, said that Patreon is changing billing. You may have already seen something about this somewhere, but I wanted to address it as best I can. Yesterday, and I think every creator on the platform got an email saying that Apple is forcing some changes to how billing works. Essentially, Apple wants to charge a 30% fee on Patreon memberships that are paid through the iOS mobile app. Patreon will be giving creators the choice of either taking the fee out of their payment or tacking it on as an extra fee. Okay. So, this is from a creator, specifically. But this is the kind of information that we were given as creators. And then, a year later, after information like this circulated everywhere for Patreon, 2 months ago, we got this. To keep the Patreon app in the App Store, Apple requires us to use their in-app purchase system, which only supports subscription billing. Because of these requirements, creators were expected to migrate from subscription billing. However, a U.S. court ruled that Apple can no longer collect fees. Because of the ruling, subscription billing migration is paused. Creators will not need to switch to subscription billing in 2025. That said, Apple still requires it. Outside of the US, we'll keep monitoring this. So, from my perspective, reading through this, my understanding was, okay, we are eventually, as creators, going to have our charge per post setup that most creators use when they are full-time. We are gonna have that revoked from us. We were originally going to have that revoked around August time, as far as I remember. But now it's going to be revoked at some point. We just don't know when. Temsu says, just make sure Patreon only subscribe outside the app. I have no idea what you're talking about. But that means at some point we are losing the main method that Patreon creators who use Patreon, use to get paid. Now, information that we were given as creators at various points in time was that we would be having no changes on our end, effectively, because Patreon was going to be averaging the amount of money that we usually made via Patreon and turning that into a monthly sum. That was their plan to deal with this. So, again, my understanding is migration to the new system was paused, but eventually it was going to happen, and that would take the form of losing our charge for post option. Now, on Patreon Mobile, charge for post was actually moved. If you're a viewer of my Patreon, if you're a subscriber to my Patreon, then you know that whenever I give updates on Patreon, most of the time they are given via mobile, because they are me using my phone and giving you guys like a behind the scenes of what's going on and recording it on my phone. I then post it from my phone. I then upload it on my phone. Now, Patreon removed the option when you are uploading your video to charge for the post. At least that's what I thought. Again, bear in mind, my understanding is that at some point we are losing charge for post. So it turns out that if you are making a post on Patreon, let's say I'm making one right now, right? Let's go over to Patreon. Let's, make a post real quick. That's me as a member. No, let's go to me as a creator. If I'm making a post now, so I'm making a post, I see paid access here, emails and notifications here. To my understanding, this is a complete set of options. It looks like a complete set of options to me. When you scroll down, you see charge for post, but not here. So that's my bad, first of all, for not noticing that. But if you are posting on mobile, you don't even have this. On mobile, they actually hide the charge for post option in one of these little bubbles up here. A thing that for the past 5 years that I've been using Patreon, I have not had to click, nor were even things on my system. So from my perspective, what I've seen is charge for post no longer being visible in the primary place that I normally post. Because usually on mobile, you make a post, and then another prompt comes up asking how you would like the paid access to work. And then after that happens, you then can put your post up. For my experience, I was no longer seeing the option to select charge for post. That was my experience as a person who always does this via mobile. And again, my information was that at some point we were losing this. Anyway, so I thought, okay, this is the feature they've been talking about. The feature that has been talked about from Patreon has rolled out because the UI has changed, and it is a thing we knew that we were losing at some point. Now, Patreon collects almost all of its fees on the first of the month, usually. At least that's when they start making them available to content creators. So I woke up this morning to let Growlithe and Chip out after having slept for 2 hours. And this is what I see for my Patreon payout. And I thought at first, well, hell, maybe they've only collected a few things. That's happened before. I'll stay up a little while longer and I'll see what's going on with Patreon. And then I clicked view more and saw that there were $0 pending at all. Now, granted, while every step of this was my fault, because despite the fact that I made videos and posts to go out on Patreon, normally I would do 4, I did 2 this last time, because I was no longer seeing charge for post. Normally, I do 4 posts to charge 4 times during the month. That's been the agreement between me and my patrons for as long as I've had Patreon set to multiple charges during a month, with an exception for about a 6-month stint where that was 5 charges a month because of a health insurance problem. Reggio says, your fault in part. How confusing the app can be is also at fault. I'm not going to deny that the reason for my decisions was on Patreon. It was on their UI and the communications that they had given in the past. I'm not going to deny that that's the reason that I made the decisions that I did. But the end result of that, regardless, was still my fault. I should have checked more areas. I should have done more research. I should have not arrogantly thought that I had all of the information. Twintail says, I can't say the same for you, but this makes me want to stick to Subscribestar. I do not like Subscribestar. I do not like the default option that people go to when they have been deplatformed for right-wing nut jobbery. It's the reason that I don't stream to Kick. And it's probably a reason that I'm not fucking touching Subscribestar. Or Minds, for that matter. Regardless, end result of this is entirely my fault. I am technically $1,000 behind on all of my bills from last month. That was because of going to Iowa to help a friend who needed stairs rebuilt and needed a lot of things in his house fixed up so he could even do work. I made the decision to go take care of that. and do what I could because I felt like that was the right thing to do. And I don't regret that decision in the slightest. I'm not about to throw my friend under the bus. None of this is his fault. I made the decision to go up there thinking I could absorb that cost. I have now realized that due to my own stupidity, I could not absorb that cost. You see, the other reasons that I was thinking that Patreon had gone through its new norm were that the last 2 months, I had received substantially less from Patreon. So normally, my monthly sum to survive off of, outside of what comes in from Twitch and YouTube, was $2,600. Now, ignore that number because taxes come in. With taxes, that number goes down by a decent portion. And when you take out the amount of money that I was pledging to other creators as well, that number goes down again. That's not the real number that I get to see. Regardless, though, it was enough to pay for all of my bills, and it was enough to fund upgrades for the channel. Things like new artwork. That's the main thing that it goes to funding. When you see a new avatar on the Magic the Gathering channel, that's paid for by the channel. That's reinvesting money from the channel into the channel. When you see a new setup here with the little slime crawling Suris on the bottom with a new chat box and all that stuff, that's money from the channel being reinvested into the channel. But then when the number of dollars coming in significantly dropped to $2,200 and $2,100, I thought, stupidly, that these were the result of Patreon's changes, and thus reinforcing this stupid situation. So not only am I behind on bills, the amount of money that, by the way, was in deficit from the last 2 months from the months before, so that's how tight the budget actually can be sometimes. But not only am I behind there, with my with my housing taxes due in 15 days, and behind on other bills. Not only am I dealing with all of that, but now I am dealing with all of that without any of the money to actually pay for any of that. Because even this $117 to make it through the first half of the month with, that's not the real number that I'm actually going to get. Because here in about 20 hours, it's going to do its withdrawal for other content creators, an amount of money that I had already truncated down a lot because I needed to make up the difference so that I could catch up on bills in the first place. But I don't know what to do here. This is technically all my fault, period. But there is no world where I can sit here and just absorb being now several $1,000s behind on bills, and around Christmas time. To add insult to injury, the part that caused me to break down this morning was talking about the plans that I originally had for doing Christmas stuff with Saki. Something that I can't do now, obviously. Something I was already struggling to figure out how I was going to do at all. Like, how was I going to afford Christmas presents for anybody when I had already had to cut the amount of money I was spending on even things I personally enjoyed down to very, very little. I had already cut out most of the superfluous spending on food. I had already cut out buying new video games. I had already cut out picking up any Magic the Gathering cards. I had basically cut out most of the non-survival spending in order to make up for the changes in where things were. It said, capitalism is a blight on the human race, or it's all about suffering. That's the thing, though. Capitalism or not, this part's my fault. Capitalism or not, this part's my fault. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. And, Ravi, I want to send that back. But I can't. So, Ravi just donated $1,000, which is a fuck ton. And I wish I was not completely emotionally drained. I've had two breakdowns back to back, and I do not have it in me to do anything other than function. Ravi, thank you. A fuck ton. Ravi says, don't you dare send it back. I wish I was in a position that I could. Because you're supposed to not be able to donate to me right now. Because you are supposed to be recovering your own financial situation right now. Because you made your own mistakes, and you are supposed to be trying to get those fixed. And now you are here trying to cover for my mistakes. That does cover a little over a third of what it would have been. And about a fourth of what it needs to be to put me back in more stable situations. So thank you. Osmazev says that's how mutual aid works. Fair. So since I made my post on Patreon letting people know what happened, there has been a handful of donations, all to the tune of about 1,500 now with Ravi's, which does put me at almost $1,500. So we're about 1,000 away from what I would be getting on Patreon, and about, like I said, 2,000 away from actually being able to catch up on what's behind. That's ignoring credit. I'm ignoring credit right now. I can't think of credit right now. I think thinking about credit right now is going to make me have a fucking panic attack. I cannot do that currently. I am already functioning. Another dono just popped in for $50. Thank you. Every little bit right now is incredibly helpful. Again, I want to stress, do not feel the need to make up for my mistake here, because this is my mistake. Informed by Patreon, but still executed by me. But for those of you who are willing to help me keep the channel running, I appreciate the help. I am trying to be as transparent as I can be with every aspect of my finances so that y'all know what's going on with that money in the first place. You can see how much I make on YouTube once I go back over to the actual YouTube channel. You can see how much is there. The other bit of the TLDR is that Suris Live is where news segments are going. Because the other part of this is that even with Patreon, I do not make enough money to take care of all of the bills, take care of both me and Saki, take care of our medical insurances, which I just have not. I am 3 months behind on medical insurance, and I just do not foresee myself being able to deal with medical insurance right now, on top of everything. In an effort to make sure that the main channel can survive, period, the main channel's being split up into two. A channel that deals with content creators, like Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro, etc., and a channel that deals with the news, like when I'm talking about CNN and shit like that. News channel's going to be Suris Live. That channel's already established. You can subscribe to it right now. Main channel, Suris, already exists. It's there. Nothing's changing on the Magic the Gathering channel. As far as I am concerned, everything is going peachy keen on the Magic the Gathering channel. That channel is doing exactly what it's supposed to do, exactly how it's supposed to do it. It's growing at a good rate. I am happy with the work that I produce over there. I am happy with the aesthetics over there. I am happy with the work Stoff has done on the aesthetics for the channel. I am happy with the work that Remixon has done on the aesthetics for the avatar. I am happy with all of that. But as of right now, I do not have enough to survive. With my housing tax coming up in 15 days, with being behind on my power bill, being behind on my car payment, and having a fresh month of bills to deal with on top of all of that. So there's the full transparency of my financial situation. There's the amount of money that I make and where. For those of you who can help, I appreciate it. For those of you who can't or don't want to, I respect that. For those of you who've supported me up to this point, I am eternally grateful and have quite literally been in your debt for years. But that's what I've got. I'm running off of 2 hours of sleep because I have not been able to get back to sleep. I made a big curry after all this information dropped on me because making food was the one thing I could fucking control. I can control making food. That's something that I can do really fucking well.